can't find nothing on the radio.
You ready, Steve?
Welcome to Songology. He's Bruce,
He's Richard.
and this is another episode from our Song of the Day archives.
Enjoy.
Welcome back, Bruce. Last week we had artist who never made number one. What do we have on tap for this week for Song of the Day?
Well, I had to start out, I thought, with the only Bruce Springsteen song to ever make number one, though it was not Bruce Springsteen's version. Now, do you know what that is? Do you care to hazard a guess?
I haven't got a clue, but then again, as we say, that's why we have you.
There you go. It was, in fact, Blinded by the Light, which was a huge monster hit all over the world for Manfred Mann's Earth Band. But was originally written and recorded by Bruce Springsteen. Now, if you ever hear Springsteen's version, it's nothing like Manfred Mann's version. I mean, there's a whole lot of difference in terms of tempo, and there are a number of little lyric changes in it, actually.
Once we hear this one, we'll put on the Bruce Springsteen's version.
If you can find it, sure.
Back. Yeah.
I don't
We'll see
have
what we
it,
can
though.
do.
You're on your own for that one. Again, the song actually came about when the guy who was then head of Columbia Records, Clive Davis, who it seems to me was the same guy who put together Aretha Franklin and George Michael. But this was much earlier. Clive Davis, listening to Springsteen's first album, says, or listening to the songs, right, says, I don't hear a single. You need to write something that's more of a single. And so Springsteen wrote Blinded by the Light and another song called Spirit in the Night in response to that.
All right.
The song actually is partly autobiographical and partly just him going through a rhyming dictionary and looking for things that rhyme. When the first line is madman drummers, bummers, and Indians in the summer with a teenage diplomat. And that is a reference to drummer Vinny Lopez, who was known as Madman. Indians in the Summer is the name of Springsteen's Little League team. And the teenage diplomat is a reference to himself.
Uh-huh.
There's various other things throughout the song that are autobiographical references, things that had happened to him in his life up to that point. Well, lyrically, it contains one of the classic misheard song lyrics, and it's in part because of a change. The Springsteen version of the line is loose like a deuce, and what he's referring to is a hot rod. You know, like the Beamer, the Beach Boys go and sing on about the little deuce coupe.
Yep.
Right? Well, that's what he's talking about. Now, Manfred Mann replaced that with the line revved up like a deuce. However, Chris Thomas, when he sang it, more about Chris in a minute, when Chris Thomas sang it, there's a kind of a little bit of a mispronunciation. And so for the longest time, and I would have to admit that I was one of the people who thought, is he really singing that? It sounds like wrapped up like a douche.
Uh-huh.
Which Springsteen actually, to his credit, thinks is hilariously funny. I saw him interviewed by Elvis Costello. Elvis Costello had a program a couple of years back called Spectacle, where he would sit down with musicians and they would talk about music and talk about their history and different things. And this came up, and Springsteen was quite amused by that. And he said, I was never able to get a number one hit until Manfred Mann took one of my songs and rewrote it about feminine hygiene products. And then it was a hit. Now, Chris Thomas, you may remember, because last fall on Halloween, you ran the musical version of the War of the Worlds.
Yes.
Chris Thomas from Manfred Mann's Earth Band, the same guy who sings lead on Blinded by the Light, is the guy who sings the song about the Thunderchild, the ironclad ship that attacks the Martians and gets wiped out but saves the ferry.
Okay, yeah.
That's Chris Thomas.
Ah.
So, we've had Chris Thomas before.
Yeah.
But not as part of Manfred Mann's Earth Band. This song is actually also unique because you get to hear Manfred Mann himself, which is quite unusual. You also get to hear chopsticks at the end there, which is kind of funny. But at the end, Chris Thomas just continually repeats Blinded by the Light, revved up like a deuce, another runner in the night. He just does that over and over again. And you hear another voice going through, not quite singing so much as reciting the lyrics to the song. That second voice is actually Manfred Mann. And he's almost never appears on any of his records. He's a keyboard player.
Okay.
He's the guy who puts together the band,
Yeah.
but he doesn't usually sing. He will sing backup stuff. So this was a big, big hit for Manfred Mann. They, for a while, held the record for longest time between number one songs because the previous number one hit was Do Wah Diddy. Remember that one?
Yep.
Yeah, back in the 60s. And so there was quite this span. That record was then beaten by the Beach Boys, actually, with the span of time between Good Vibrations and Kokomo. Takes me a minute to come up with these things.
Yep.
And then that was beaten actually by Cher. But that's a different discussion for another. Someday I will give you my theory as to why, or as to how Cher destroyed music.
Oh.
Actually, it's not really fair to blame her entirely, but I think the root of the current problem with music, as I see it anyway, is Cher's fault. But I'll leave my soapbox in the closet for the moment. So, but I will tell you a story about probably my favorite Manfred Mann story. Manfred Mann, with his first band, was asked to perform a song for the movie What's New Pussycat. Now, if I remember correctly, that's got Peter Sellers, possibly Peter O'Toole in it.
Okay. I'd have to
Back in the late 60s.
Yeah.
It was a big deal. The songs were written by none other than famous songwriter Burt Bacharach. And Manfred Mann was asked to perform a Burt Bacharach song called My Little Red Book for What's New Pussycat. So he and the band troop into Abbey Road and studio to
and
do
by
this.
the way, you are correct. Peter Sellers, Peter O'Toole,
Hey, there you
Romy
go.
Schneider, Capuchin, and Paula Prentice.
Oh, Capuchin she's a model
Okay.
turned actress.
Yep.
She's French or Italian, I can't remember which.
Hmm.
But there you go. I got the trivia. I get the trivia prize for
Yes. Another gold star goes
There you
onto
go.
your forehead.
So Manfred Mann is sitting in Abbey Road Studios getting ready. He's nervous because Burt Bacharach is a kind of an idol and is a huge, huge deal in music in those days. And so, notwithstanding that Manfred Mann has been pretty successful in his own right to that stage, he's still pretty nervous because he's sort of meeting one of his idols, right? Well, it doesn't get any easier by the fact that Burt Bacharach's girlfriend at the time, and later I think they married for a while, is Angie Dickinson, all right? The gorgeous Angie Dickinson.
Yeah.
And so she's there as well. So Manfred's even more nervous. But he figures, okay, well, this is an easy piece. I can do this, right? This is not difficult at all. And it's just for what he has to do is just the same chords over and over again. On each beat of the bar, not a problem. So they run through it. They go through the control room. Everything is great except Manfred's piano part. And Burt Bacharach says, could you just play that a little more evenly? He realizes that he's putting emphasis on beats 2 and 4, which is a jazz pianist thing.
Right.
This is what jazz piano players do.
Yep.
They try to, inject a little bit of rhythm into something.
Yep.
And so Bert says, could you do this without the accents? So do it again. Nope, doesn't help. Do it again. Nope, doesn't help. At this stage, Manfred's getting even more nervous because he overhears Angie Dickinson telling somebody else that she and Bert are really, really tired and they want to get back to the hotel because they've been up all night partying with Princess Margaret. Remember, this is the late 60s, and Princess Margaret was quite the party girl in those days, right?
Yeah.
And he even sees Angie Dickinson when she thinks nobody's looking.
Yeah.
She's checking her watch. Like, how much longer is this going to be?
Yeah.
And this is getting worse and worse, and he's getting more and more pressured, and he's still not getting it right. So eventually, Burt Bacharach, who is just the soul of diplomacy, right, through all this,
Yeah.
he suggests, well, maybe if we just played it together, right? 4 of us on the keyboard, I'll be the bass end, you be treble. Big sigh from Angie Dickinson. Out we go again. Bert plays nice and even. Manfred is pounding the heck out of beats 2 and 4 still. And now his timing is starting to get off. And so Bert says, well, Manfred, why don't you how about you play the bottom and I'll play the top? So we tried that again. No better. Still not working out. And by this stage, Manfred is feeling basically humiliated because we've been at this for hours.
Yeah.
Angie Dickinson is quietly rolling her eyes every time he screws it up.
Yeah.
And so eventually Bert pauses and he looks kind of thoughtful, and then he says, and with what Manfred Mann describes as both with tact and crushing sympathy, he says, Manfred, tell you what, I'll play it and you tell me what you think. Right? And Manfred says, yeah, okay, Bert, sure. Bert goes out, nails it one take. And then, because Bert is being kind, right, but as sort of the icing on the cake for Manfred Mann's day, he turns because he's trying to, help Manfred out. So Manfred, what do you think? Is it okay? Is it good enough? Right?
Yeah.
No sarcasm, right? He's being genuinely really, really nice. And Manfred, oh yeah, I think that's great, Bert. So that's it. The song goes on to the soundtrack of the movie, and it's credited to Manfred Mann, even though he says, I don't play on it. That's Burt Bacharach playing the piano.
Uh-huh.
And later, one of those examples of situations where, you know how you always remember the things that embarrass you,
Yeah.
even though no one else remembers it?
Yeah.
Well, same thing happened in this instance. You got to fast forward many years to 2004. Manfred Mann runs into Burt Bacharach at some function or event, and they're sort of reminiscing, and Burt Bacharach had forgotten about the incident entirely. Manfred Mann has carried this with him the whole time. Burt's forgot about it completely.
Yeah.
Right. And Manfred reports, even then, Burt Bacharach was a really kind and generous guy. And he immediately said, well, you know what? It was a really difficult piano part. Really a sweet guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, let's leave Burt Bacharach. Let's go back to Bruce Springsteen, because we are supposed to be being blinded by the light.
And as usual, I have to stop it right there due to the fair use rules on YouTube. If you haven't already, please subscribe. You can check us out on Facebook or head over to our website, which is songology.ca. Now, here's your chance to listen to the music or go on to the next episode.